I don't think they heard us in Albany, so let's do it one more time. Trash free 23! 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 Okay, thank you. My name is Brad Jones. I want to thank everybody for coming out today for our first walk. This may be the beginning of many more walks. And maybe one of our future walks is from here to Albany so they can get the message. I'd just like to introduce a few people. The two students here standing to my right and left, Margot Eller, Brody Heron. Both of these students here at Minders spoke at the recent town board meeting, and I want to thank them. I think the biggest takeaway from today's march is the number of students and families participating. You truly get it. Thank you, kids. If there's one message I'd like to leave with you today, this is just the beginning. We've come a long way, and there's one group that needs to be recognized more than anybody else, and that's our friends, the concerned citizens of Waterloo. They actually started this crusade years and years and years ago, and I've always said they're the leaders of this group, and they're going to continue to lead the focus and lead the charge. So with that, I'd like to introduce a few of the speakers, and when I say speakers, I like to say one of the true leaders of our community, our new town supervisor, Greg Lazaro, who gets it about... Like to say a few words, so let's welcome Town Supervisor Greg Lazaro.
Okay, thank you everyone, and I'd be amiss if I didn't thank the visitors we have today from Geneva and from Warburg who are supporting all of you. I'd also like to say that you walked today and you spoke today, and we hear you. Town government here. You walked today and you spoke today, and town government is listening and they hear you. One thing I'm very concerned about, and I'll keep my comments short, is when we have two members of the state legislature saying that we can't do anything else. It's not that they can't do, they won't do. And we have to make that decision. Secondly, our voices will be heard again in November at the election booth, and you can tell at least the one, Assemblyman Cole, that's sorry we decided to take a different direction and vote him out of office. Thank you. Seneca Falls is a great place, and we intend to keep it that way. Thank you all.
Thank you, Greg, and you're our leader in the next few years, and a lot of decisions must be made. It's not just stopping the trash train, but it's to have a seat at the table with the DEC as well as the politicians in Albany. And with that said, take your message day in and day out to the leaders in Albany to say enough is enough. We don't want to be the garbage pail of the Northeast any bit longer. Okay, some real great stories coming up. The first, a senior at Minders Academy. Many of you may know her, Divya Tiwari.
I can.
Hi, my name is David Tawari. I am a student, an athlete, and a member of the community. Many of you know me as a classmate or teammate to your son or daughter, a coach or referee to your young child, or even just a familiar face around town. I would like to share a quick story about how the exponentially growing landfill negatively affected me just this week. I spent Tuesday night in Waterloo High School's gymnasium playing in my exceptional senior basketball game. The weather started warm, and with the night came a cool and relaxing breeze. It turned out to be a great way to end one season and begin another. Having too much fun in my last game ever, it wasn't until I was sitting on the bench that I realized something really smelled. I mentally checked and rechecked if I had put on deodorant before coming to such a sweaty game, reassuring myself that I did. Then it hit me. I was smelling garbage. The reek of tons of trash poured into my lungs, as it has before, including the numerous times I've reffed youth lacrosse games, and the smell is so overwhelming, it's nauseating to have to blow into my whistle. I can't imagine how the 11-year-olds on the field felt. I fell in love with my town and the rural location of Seneca Falls because of the clear blue skies and that huge breath of fresh air I could always take whenever I wanted. How my mom had to beg me to come inside for dinner because I didn't want to lose any time I could be spending outside. But now, the trash trains are steering kids right inside, away from the smell, away from their childhood. Kids are brought in during recess when the odor is too strong, closing all doors and shutting all windows. Do our children deserve to be treated like prisoners for wanting to play wiffle ball or climb the monkey bars? Right. What harmful effects can come from breathing in chemicalized trash? Are we just going to wait to find out what these toxins could be doing to our developing child's lungs? I haven't even graduated high school yet, and here I am worried about the air my children will be breathing in. I've been born and raised in Seneca Falls, this quaint yet historically beautiful town. I've always been proud of the place I planted my roots, and it does not deserve to be New York City's or anybody's dump. If this doesn't stop now, when will it? And when Seneca Falls runs out of room, what home of thousands of people will be dumped on next? Where's the democracy in this issue? We the people are unhappy and it's clear, but we are still not being represented well enough in this matter. If I'm not mistaken, the American Revolution was grounded off of a lack of representation. To the suits responsible for the trash trains, this is war. And to my friends, neighbors, and fellow community members, we must never acquiesce, for it is together that we prevail.
Okay, if you think that one's good, we got a couple more. One of her fellow classmates, Catherine Porter. Come on up, Catherine.
My name is Catherine Porter. Sorry, is that okay? Okay, that was really loud. I'm a senior at Minders Academy, and I've lived on the same street in Seneca Falls for all of my 17 years. I can imagine no better place to grow up, and I will always appreciate my hometown for its history, beauty, and community. But there's one thing I'd like to forget: the landfill. The smell gets progressively worse, and I'm horrified to think that this new contract could allow it to worsen for at least 20 years. When I come back home from college to visit, I don't want the first thing I notice about my hometown to be the smell, and I don't want to be excited to leave, but I'm scared this could happen. When you meet a new person, I think it's hard to get a good impression when the first thing you notice is body odor. Our town's odor reeks. I want to be able to share our hometown with other people, but do tourists really want to visit a place that smells like they're living inside a dumpster? Especially when the Hampton Inn is so close to Seneca Meadows. It's almost like a game of one of these things is not like the other. Wine, lakes, history, and trash. I'm also worried that families won't move here to raise their kids, and I have no difficulty imagining families leaving. I want kids to have the same opportunities I have had in the small town, but I understand parents' concerns. Not only does it smell bad, but is it healthy to live with these toxins in the air and ground? Maybe I'm paranoid after Flint, but I think we should be concerned about this landfill's effect on our health. And I've heard some people all say that the trash has to go somewhere, but why here? Why is the largest active landfill in New York found in such a rich area, culturally and environmentally, where thousands of kids grow up? And we've already done our time. The landfill is supposed to reach capacity in 2023, but trash is a business, and Seneca Meadows seems to be skirting around the rules to try and make even more money beyond that date. The money Seneca Meadows gives our community certainly looks good at first, but is it worth decreasing tourism and the growth of our town? Will it hurt the economy in the long run? And is that money really worth the health of thousands of people? Almost everyone I've talked to agrees that there's something wrong. Yet it appears that Seneca Meadows is planning on accepting trash by train after 2023, and I think there's something seriously wrong with this. Local government is the place where people should most directly be heard, and we are finally beginning to affect them, most recently with a stop work order for the rail siding project. Yeah! Now we must be heard in Albany. Isn't this what a democracy is for? So the people can be heard? If we continue to make decisions based on only what this corporation wants, maybe we should change the name of this town too. Welcome to Seneca Meadows. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. I'd have to say we've got some future leaders right here. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize two other Seneca Falls officials besides our town supervisor, both Paul Cronenwater as well as Steve Churchill are here. I'd like to have them come up and just say a few words. They're on our team as well. We've got three great leaders driving this bus, so let's stick behind them. Yep. Thank you, Brad. Yes, thank you. All of you. This is what makes it work. I'm Steve Churchill. And Paul Cronenwater's we're on the Seneca County Board.
And his mouth runs a lot, so I'll let him do it.
I'm 17 years old. And I'll be graduating this, no, I wish I was. But I'll tell you what, these are the folks that really got to get involved. It's your future, not ours. We're old farts. We built that thing for you, and shame on us. You know, it's kind of an interesting story to tell, though. If you think back, when I was a kid, the landfill was about as big as this park, and it just smoldered all the time. We used to walk out there and take our BB guns and shoot rats and whatever, but it was about as big as this. And if you wanted to get to Black Brook, you had to walk to about that bridge back there, and on the other side of Black Brook was nothing but woods. Well, that's all gone. Black Brook has been rerouted. The landfill probably goes from here to the cemetery. And it happened in just 60 years. Seems like a long time for some of you folks, but for some of us, that's not very long. And it's growing exponentially. You know, they keep increasing the amount of trash they take. You know, 10, 15 years ago, it was 3,000 tons a day. Now it's 6,000. They say it'll never increase, but we know they're liars.
Yes, yeah.
So today we're here to stop the trash train, and that's quite a challenge. They hide behind the fact that they have the national safety, or the whatever it is, some organization out of the federal government that regulates railroads, and they hide behind that, and we can't let them do that. Because it's our home, and you can stop trains. I can't believe it's America. We can't stop a train. Come on. So we've got to stop the train, because if they get that garbage from New York City, the next it's going to come from Boston, and then it's coming from Chicago, and then it's coming from Canada, and it'll just keep coming. In 2002, some folks in Seneca Falls, just like this, stopped an expansion of the landfill. They wanted to come across 414 to the wetlands that they now have. They bought that farm to put trash on in 2002. The folks stopped them then, thank God. Well, they still got their eye on that. If they wanted to make it really a wetlands, they turn it over to state and make it forever wild. They have no intention of doing that. It's all been prepped for a landfill. So we've got to stop the trains, or that's where it's going. And how do we do that? We got to get off the money. We're all addicted to it. It's like cocaine. You know, they give a little bit here. You know, there would be 4 or 5 times as many more people here today if it weren't for the money. A lot of people are afraid. They're afraid if they join us, then they aren't going to get the handout that they get. Well, you know what? We're better than that. We can help our little leagues without the landfill, right?
We can support the House of Concern without the landfill. So we have to reassure those folks. We can't get angry at them. They aren't the enemy. We just got to welcome over to our side and tell them and reassure them that we can help carry the load. So with that, I'm going to turn this microphone over to Paul Cronewater. I do want to say we're doing everything we can at the county level, and if you can think of more we should be doing, please reach out to me and Paul, and we'll get it done.
I remember fighting this battle back in 1988 when I was a town councilman, and it was the same deal. The DEC looked me right in the eye and says, if they meet the criteria of our permit structure, we have to issue them a permit. And I was the only one that voted against any tonnage increases. The rest of the elected officials were, no, we got to get the money, we got to get the money. So at the ballot box, you might want to make sure who you elect is who you want to represent you and has your views. And we're starting. The Seneca Falls constituency sees the writing on the wall. Maybe our other towns, not so much. So keep up the good work, keep up the fight, and November is when you can make a difference. Thank you.
One more time, trash free 23.
Trash free 23. Trash free 23. Trash free 23.
Thank you.
Trash free.
Is Louis Smith here?
Yeah, right here.
Come on up, Louis.
Yeah, Louis!
You tell it to him. Ladies were good. Wait till you hear Louis.
Tell it to him, Louis!
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
My name is Louis Smith. I'm 14 years old, and I'm a freshman at Miners Academy. I have been blessed with the good fortune to live in the beautiful Finger Lakes on Cuba Lake my whole life. I'm lucky. My family's here, my friends are here, and all of my childhood memories are here. But I'm naturally a very inquisitive person, so I can't help but question, how is the landfill and the impending trash train going to be a positive piece of my future here? Speaking to our state legislators, local politicians, and the DEC. As a biology student here at Minders, I have learned that what we put in our bodies directly affects our health. Is that awful smell we have all become accustomed to, the toxic soup that we all inhale on a daily basis, just like the secondhand smoke from a cigarette? Will we learn after it's too late that the negative health effects are irreversible? Is the smell going to enhance my future here? Is the technology being used to line the dump really going to last? Will it at some point leak into our groundwater and pollute beautiful Cuba Lake? That same lake that my family lives on? The same lake that my brother and I and our friends fish in? The same lake that we swim in every day in the summer? The same lake that we ice skate on during the winter? And the same lake that I hope to bring my own children up on someday? Will transporting other communities' trash into our beautiful town via a trash train help be a positive factor in my future here? Why are we even considering being New York City's and New Jersey's trash can? Will adding another 20 years of toxic garbage to the existing dump enhance my future here? Will the landfill help to bring people to our great town of Seneca Falls? Or will the dump help my generation stay in Seneca Falls after we graduate in 4 years? Will the landfill help to enhance our future here? I think we all know the answers to these rhetorical questions. It is a resounding no. So again, to our legislators, local politicians, and the DEC, the answer to any extension of the dump's permit should also be a resounding no. And the answer to bringing the trash train into our community should be a resounding no. We ask you to stand with us and make decisions that will help to enhance our future here and not put us at increasing peril. I will leave you all with one final thought. Our hometown of Seneca Falls should be our safe haven, a place to get away from the pressures of life and a place that we can be proud to call home. Are you proud to call the landfill your home? No. Thank you. Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Catherine. Thanks, Divya. Well done. I'd be remiss if I did not recognize our friends from Ontario County, the city of Geneva. They're here for support because this isn't just Seneca Falls and Waterloo. Yeah! Could our friends from Geneva raise your hands, please? Thank you for coming out. We appreciate you. We all know for a fact if these trash trains come to Seneca Falls, they have to go through Cayuga County, City of Auburn, or they have to go through Ontario County, City of Geneva. So this team is just growing today. It's just not these kids. It's our problem. Okay, next up, Linda Oakes, one of the founders, one of the original team members of Concerned Citizens. She has a few words to say. Linda.
I just need to soak this in for 1 minute. This has been a long time coming.
Yes.
To see so many people finally saying enough is enough with in our communities. Actually, this is one of my dreams come true. But it's very inspiring to see so many people gather here today to talk about a common issue that affects all of us in very serious ways. Breathing in toxic garbage on a daily basis is not a healthy thing for any living creature. I've been asked to speak to you today about what we can do about the mountains of trash that threaten our health in our communities. We all know that most of the trash destined for our backyard is created in some other place, especially the New York City area. I heard recently New York City is now working on banning plastic bags. That's a good start, but they need to do more than that.
Yes.
They need to remove the organics from their waste stream to stop the horrible odors that we are faced with on a daily basis. The stench is overwhelming and will only get worse. Let's see, I lost my spot. The landfill tells us all the time that they are doing everything possible to stop the odor.
Liar!
Yeah. Everything has been done except the thing that will work.
Exactly.
Remove the organics from the waste stream. It takes more effort, but it's the only answer to the problem. Organics equals methane gas and horrendous odors. There's no getting around that fact. Environmental education is key to changing our wasteful habits. Landfills are necessary in society, and that's a fact. But over 90% of what we send to a landfill does not need to end up there. Removing organics would remove the odor and many tons of trash on a daily basis from entering the landfill. Composting organics is beneficial and can be used in flower and vegetable gardens in the form of compost to help feed plants, control runoff, and slow down global warming. Aluminum and other metals can reduce the amount of metals going into the landfill, and they can be recycled at local scrap yards. We can reduce the amount of stuff we buy that has to be disposed of. You can call manufacturers and tell them you want the product, not the packaging. I do that all the time. We can reuse things that would normally not think twice about. We can recycle everything that goes into a blue bin. Blue bins are available at the county building along with instructions on what is acceptable to put in that bin. So if we do our part and do the things that I just mentioned, there will be less things headed to landfills. Other communities need to do the same as well, especially if their waste comes to the Finger Lakes.
Exactly.
This is zero waste in action.
Yes. Yes.
We also need to focus our attention on the DEC in Albany and the governor to demand meaningful implementation of these ideas and others in the Beyond Waste plan that was enacted by the state. We need to push for reduce, reuse, recycle, and composting. Landfilling and incineration should be last options, not first. We need to look at our elected officials on the county level next. We need them to work together to adopt a solid, comprehensive county plan. Without a plan, we are vulnerable to all kinds of development that isn't necessarily what we want in our county. We have not had a county plan in over 10 years, and we desperately need one. Words like sustainable and zero waste need to be embraced with this plan and goals. There are goals to work towards. In short, there's many things we can do that will lessen our footprint on our corner of the earth and don't cost a lot of money. So let's embrace them first, get a plan, and become the sustainable Finger Lakes. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, and thank you, concerned citizens of Waterloo and Seneca Falls. Last but not least, our good friend Peter Pontius. When he says it loud. Welcome.
Well, first of all, children, wonderful. Let me just say that. But I got to tell you, 45 years ago, probably, that's when young people were protesting a lot more. It's good to see you out here doing it. And I remember I had an impeach Nixon on my trombone case. So, start early and continue, kids. Fight for what's right. Hey, I've got some good news. Spring is coming.
Yeah.
And you know what that means? What it means is the farmers are going to start spreading manure, and that's going to cover up the smell of the landfill. It's pretty sad when the smell of manure is better than your normal air, isn't it? Anyways, some people have mentioned this before, but I got to mention it. I was brought up, you got to be good for your word. You got to be good for your word. And I'm going to tell you, this community has been good for its word. We signed on with Seneca Meadows, and we put up with all the crap that came along with it, and we've been pretty good about it. So we did our part. Now it's time to demand they do their part and be good for their word. Right. They were supposed to be gone in 2017. Let's at least push for 2023. And get them out of here. Let them know that they've outstayed their welcome. Now, and I'll tell you, I'm a big one on Nazolio and Kolb. In fact, I have a cartoon I did down there with a friend of mine, Steve Hafley, that kind of, whoops. Oh, I'm tired of breaking things. No, it should be in the Finger Lakes Times sometime. If anybody wants access to it, I think there's some web pages. Everybody can feel free to copy it and do what you want with it. I would personally love to see it stamped over every window in the Seneca Falls and Waterloo and the downtowns. But we can't make that happen. As much as Mike and Brian have done literally nothing, well, no, let me put it this way. They did write a letter, which is the least that they could do. And unfortunately, that's exactly what we become used to. Mike and Brian doing the absolute least that they could do. Exactly. So it's about time we demanded more from them. They're not around. They're not doing their job. And what I think is funny, Mike's leaving soon. He wants a good legacy. Good luck, especially with this, because I know that we're going to fight really hard to be sure if he doesn't help us, his legacy isn't going to be anything good. It's going to be that landfill, it's going to be that railroad track, it's going to be all of that. And that'll happen only if we continue to stay on his back. What I'm afraid we're getting right now, I don't know if you ever tried to go talk to these guys. I love this. I put this in something I put on Facebook. You go there, and we pay for literally literally 3 layers of protection between us and them. You got to go through the receptionist, you got to go through maybe an intern, and then you got to go through a legislative analyst, and maybe you'll talk to them. And then I think they should probably get some kind of an Academy Award for acting like they care. Because they do a great job of acting like they care. The problem is they don't really show it ever. And you know, it's funny. I brought up in the last talk that what they think, they seem to have confused being a public servant with being a celebrity.
Exactly.
But you know what? We can blame ourselves for that. Because we invite these people to all these special dinners, and we invite them as the guests of honor. These 2 people belong to the most corrupt governmental body in the entire country. Why are we giving them free dinners? Why are we having them speak to us when they are corrupt? They should be the guests of dishonor, in my opinion. Lord knows we shouldn't be listening to what they say. And by the way, if you ever want Mike to come around, I think I found the secret. Bring a camera.
Yeah.
Bring a camera, because you know there was one time he actually said 3 words during an entire session one time. They keep track of that, and I'm pretty sure the words were, "Where's the camera?" I think those are the words he said. I'm not positive, but that's what I would guess. The fact that they really don't care about us, and let's be honest, they don't. They care about themselves. To me, that rings very, very much of taxation without representation.
Exactly.
Where's our representation? We don't pay our taxes. We get arrested. They don't represent us. We invite them for a free dinner. What's wrong with us? There's something wrong with us. Very, very wrong. By the way, the one thing that Mike and Brian are very good at, and I got to give them credit, is transparency. We all see right through them.
Yes.
We know what they're doing. They think they're fooling us. They really do. I wish I had a nickel for every picture of Mike Nozzolio I've seen in the paper and every place else. And it's funny, if you do get to see him, you walk out, and the first thing he says, "You want a picture with me?" It's like, no, not really, you know? Why would I want a picture with you, for God's sakes? You don't do anything. We need, by the way, we've just said we can't trust Seneca Meadows. We cannot trust them. We cannot trust the DEC. I think what we need is we need a monitor to monitor the DEC monitor who's monitoring Seneca Meadows, because I could be wrong, but I kind of think they're in bed together. I'm not sure, but it sure seems that way. Let me tell you what I think we really need to do. Okay? I think it's pretty interesting. First of all, this is a great showing. We can't stop. We probably won't be this intense forever, but we cannot stop this fight. What we need to do, I'm a big one on information and research. What we need to do is we need to find out exactly what Seneca Meadows needs to do to extend their 2023 whatever contract, whatever it is. And then we need to find out exactly what we need to do to block it. If we don't know what they're doing, we won't know if what we're doing is right. So we need to know more about what they need to do than they do. And then we need to meet with our representatives, or whoever. Maybe Mike's predecessor or whatever, his successor will be representative, I don't know. But we need to find out what we need to do to stop it. And that means meet with DEC, meet with other people. If you've got friends who have been involved in closing landfills before in other parts of the country, call them, find out what they did. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. I got a friend in North Carolina I'm going to be talking to. He's a great kid from Waterloo, Stephen Dressing, who is involved in all this. I'm going to find out what they are doing. He used to work for the EAP. No, EPA. I work for the EAP. EPA. So please, guys, continue the fight. This is wonderful. Let's just not forget, and pardon this pun, but let's remember, we're in it for the long haul. Okay? Thanks for coming.
He truly tells it like it is. One last speaker, somebody I'd like to recognize along with her husband, Annette and Bill Lutz. They, along with the concerned citizens of Waterloo have been marching to this tune for years. They're doing a lot just from their own purse strings. You may have read an article yesterday with the environmental lawyer. We all need to belly up the table and help the Lutzes, but Annette has a few words to say as well.
Oh, I will.
Good.
It is so amazing to see everyone out here. It's just overwhelming for Bill and I. Thank you so much for everybody coming. So 168 years ago, some very brave women stood in this very town and began their battle for the right to vote, and with hard work and perseverance they accomplished what some said could never be done. Today, we all stand here facing a similar fight. It began with the concerned citizens about 8 or 9 years ago, but many in our community turned a blind eye in exchange for dirty money. In the past few years, as the mounds of garbage has grown and the stench has become unbearable and quite embarrassing, we have begun to see through the dump's trusted neighbor, value partner, fake slogan. Liars! We are smarter than that. So one by one, our community is joining forces to say enough is enough. We want our community back. We want our health and fresh air back. We want this environmental nightmare to end. For our children in the beautiful land, we need to keep persevering. Thanks to everybody for coming out here and our 3 courageous board members who have slowed down that trash train. The message to New York City: we do not want your trash. And maybe that stalled train engine will be enough for New York City to look elsewhere to dump. Our next goal as a community is focusing on the permit that expires in October of 2017. This permit, if rubber stamped by the DEC, will continue to allow the dump to dump 6,000 tons a day on us. A day! We must stand united and voice our opposition to this madness by writing our letters to the DEC and by voicing our opinions at the town board meetings and letting our leaders know that we are fed up and done with the SMI's corporate greed and assault on all of our health. Together, we can do the impossible. Get involved. Stay involved. There's some important dates coming up. Bill and I are having another Gould Trash Talk Thursday, March 30th at 7 p.m. Everyone is welcome to come. We have information. We will hopefully get some letters put together that people can send out, and just a nice community gathering of everybody voicing their opinions and what we can do. There is also the town board meeting on April 5th at 7 p.m. That's at the St. Pat's Old School. Last month we had a great turnout. We had 22 speakers, one after another, tell everybody how we did not want this trash anymore.
Tell it how it is.
So even if you don't like to get up in front of people and speak, if you show up, the town board will get our message. If you'd like to speak there, you have to sign up by April Fool's Day by noon.
Are you joking?
I'm not joking. So in closing, there is strength in numbers. Today has proved it. It's amazing to see all these beautiful faces out here. Let's keep this momentum going, growing, and moving forward. Our community and all of our future depends on it. Thank you.
Okay, no better way to close our first walk. And when I say our first walk, this is the beginning of many. And we may have to take a walk to Albany one of these days. So who would be interested? Raise your hand. In closing, I had mentioned concerned citizens of Waterloo. I'd like to have Glenn Silver come up and say a few words. He got this train moving, so to speak, at our end of the tracks. And then I'd like to have Linda Behe come up just to show a little artistic work of what's going on. It's just not signs, but it's paintings. We've got some traction. Glenn first.
Yes, Glenn!
You know, I've been to People's Park in Boulder, Colorado, and in Berkeley, California, but they sure as hell have nothing on this crowd here today. It's amazing. I think that this is, People's Park has truly come onto its own here in Seneca Falls. I don't know that there's ever been a gathering like this for any, we can call this a political reason, can we not? Yeah. I don't think it's ever happened here before, so it's just wonderful to see this happening here. I want to give a call out to, again, the folks from Geneva, because I started in this endeavor 8-9 years ago. I was the co-founder of Finger Lakes Zero Waste. Yeah. I was the one who came over from Seneca County to join with the folks in Geneva to form Finger Lakes Zero Waste. And about a year or so after that, we split it off, figuring that we had at least our own issue here, if not double in importance, and that not only were we getting 3,000, but we were getting 6,000 tons a day of trash at that point in time. So we certainly were able to find our identity with no problem here in Seneca County in fighting that. It's been 7 years or so, and I want to just give a call out and a shout out to the rest of our group members here. We have been meeting twice a month, county office building. We've made it by invitation only. It's open to the public, but we can't advertise it as such, because in the early days, Seneca Meadows used to show up. They used to line the back of the room and basically heckle and try and disrupt us. So that was the early days, right? We got smart in a hurry. But we also meet, as a steering committee group, we meet on Sundays. Our group has been meeting most Sundays for the past 7 years, and that's where we strategize and figure out what the hell we're going to do next with regard to Seneca Meadows. Now, I can go on and on about everything that's happened, but I want to just maybe close it because there's been a lot of speakers. I want to hand this off to someone else. I want to say that it's interesting in the corporate world, which I've spent a large part of my life, there's this the study of lean management. They have something called the 5 S's. And the 5th S of the 5 S's, it's in Japanese, but it translates into sustain. Sustain is the hardest thing to do in corporate world, in management, in politics, in people coming together. So I just want to really say that if we can all concentrate as hard as we can on what's happened here today and trying to sustain this, we need to stay where we are in numbers, but not only that, but we need to grow in numbers. The level of threat that we're faced with, and I've looked and I've studied this on and on for years, there's been landfills that aren't even a 4th or a 5th the size of this that have had communities where they've had 500 and 600 and 700 and more people stand up. We're Seneca Falls, 10, 12,000 people. We're Waterloo, we're 8, 9,000 people. There should be a couple of thousand people here in this park, and they should be at the gateway to the county office building, at the town hall in Seneca Falls and Waterloo, and on our doorsteps of our legislative representatives, as has already been said. So we need to sustain. Please, everybody here, promise me we'll keep this going forever and ever until Seneca Meadows is shut down completely. Thank you very much.
Linda, real quick, I just want to show you an artist doing her thing, doing her work. It tells a story. It'll be shown around, but just for you young children, it's much more than just talk. But Linda put together a painting of one of the 3 mountains along Burgess Road where she lives. Farmland so close by, leachate running off. Linda, I just want to say thank you for thinking outside the box. Let's give her a hand.
Thank
Thank you, all you good people. I didn't prepare to say anything today because I had my painting. I thought that was going to say it all. But you know, I have to say that I worked as a social worker and as a realtor and as a variety of things throughout my life. And I have given some public speeches before, but never straight from the heart like this. But I gotta say, I moved here in September from Rochester, New York, to the pristine Finger Lakes. And I happened to make the mistake of moving into the Waterloo area close to the dump. I always called it the dump from day one. I don't call it a landfill. It's a dump.
It's a dump, yeah.
And that dump stinks. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, wait a minute, this is the pristine area in New York State. How can this be? Then I heard about the trash train coming. I said, that's absurd. And nobody was saying much about it. And I said, you know what? This right here today is an answer to prayer, because this isn't right. You people we just can't let that happen to New York State, to this beautiful lakes and all the things going on. And if it's about the economy, you got a big casino going in over here. What's gonna happen? People come out of the casino from all over the place and smell dumpy air, a stink. And then they're gonna go back and tell other people how bad it smells. That's not gonna be good for the economy. So if they really want to help the economy, they ought to think about that. It doesn't make sense. And of course, the other thing too, wine country. People love to come here. People love to visit the area, but they're not going to want to smell the stink. So we need to band together, and I'm so glad to see everyone here today participating. I had a dream about this painting. The two cows in my dream, they were sitting there talking. We actually have cows on Burgess Road at the dump site. How can that be? I don't understand that. So the two cows are looking at each other saying, what should be the caption of this painting? Something like, this stinks? Or, you know, where's all this gas coming from? It's not from me. Of course, cows do emit gas, but so does the dump, and it stinks. It's bad. It's bad. But you know, together, this is America, and the people will speak, and this is your land, so you have to fight for it. We always have. We're Americans. So, amen to that.
Amen. Okay, that ends our speeches. One last round of applause for our two grand marshals, Margot Eller, Brady Heron. One request, litter free. Please, we have some dumpsters here provided by the town. We have a lot of signs donated by Waterloo Container. They just whispered in my ear, more signs forthcoming. So if you'd like to have one for your front lawn, stop up at Waterloo Container. Thank you for coming out, and as Glenn Silver said, let's sustain. Thank you.